Are you trying, baby? Try to get back on it and look like a fat asshole. No way. Oh, maybe. That's fine. You're welcome. Okay, good. That was not a trick.
Oh, shit, you know what I was supposed to... Hold on.
Okay, you gotta ride this one like a horse.
Regina, what do you think?
Oh, hello. Hey, how are you guys? It's me, Orianne. I am back and I have a new story for you. But today, before we tell this story, we're gonna make a drink because this is happy hour with Not Literary. To get started, here is everything you're going to need to make today's drink, which has the same name as today's story, and that is Let's Do Coke in the Bathroom. You need vanilla vodka of your choice. Any brand will do, whatever you like. A coffee liqueur of your choice. Any brand will do. I did Absolute Vanilla, and I got Molinari coffee liqueur cafe. Those choices were really just made because I bought my alcohol here in Curacao, and the options are very limited because we're on an island, so I just got whatever I could find. You'll need a Diet Coke. I got a Coke Zero because Diet Coke is hard to find here too. 1 can of coconut milk, and 1 can of coconut cream. Now, this part's important. If you are a hard boozer and you want your drink to be extra strong, I highly recommend substituting the coconut milk and coconut cream with white chocolate liqueur. So if you want to just sub out white chocolate liqueur, make your drink even tastier and even stronger, highly recommend it. I just couldn't find any here. And with the Coke theme of the drink, I thought coconut, I'll just go with it. You also want some coconut flakes, like these right here. We're gonna rim our glass with that. You'll need something to dip your glass in to make it sticky so that the coconut flakes stick to the rim. I have some honey here, whipped honey. And if you want to put a cherry on top, baby, why not? It's the maraschino cherry. I like the red maraschino cherries. I don't like the Liquer cherries because they're brown and ugly. But some people think those are fancy. So if you want to get those, sure, whatever. Okay, let's get started. First thing you're going to need to do is rim your glass. So you're going to take your glass, and you'll notice, aren't these cute? Look, there's little Coca-Cola glasses. I found them at La Curacao, the store up the street. Anyway, you're going to get this and dip it into your honey or whatever you're using to rim your glass. Some people like to just take a lime wedge and swirl it around the edge. I think that would taste gross with the drink that we're making, so I did honey. And then I'm going to dip that into my coconut flakes. Also, it is called Let's Do Coke in the Bathroom. If you are really adventurous and you want to add some cocaine to your coconut flakes or rim your glass with cocaine, I'm not judging you. I do have something that I found at the store. It's not cocaine, obviously, at the store, but it basically has the same last name as me. Look, Storytime. And it looks like cocaine. I think it's just powdered sugar, but I bought it because it has the same last name as me. So I'm going to go ahead and, ooh, open. Okay, that's different. Oh, Oh, I don't like that at all. It tastes like oh, that's gross. Yeah, that tastes like, I mean, it's not gross, but it tastes like licorice. It's not that gross. Anyway, whatever. We're not going to use this. But cool, it has the same last name as me. Well, we should use a little bit of it. We'll sprinkle some in at the end just for fun. Okay, so once you get your glass rimmed, you can put some ice in there. More ice if you want a small drink, less ice if you want a big drink. I want kind of a big drink. I like a big drink. And then we're going to add a little bit of coffee liqueur and some vanilla vodka. You can add as much or as little alcohol as you want. I'm going to go pretty hard. I'm going to count to 3. This has a pour spout on it, so it's coming out slow. So I did like 3-second pour the coffee liqueur. Ooh, smells delicious. It smells like a stripper. And then I'm going to take the vanilla vodka and just eyeball it like about a shot and a half shot and a half for me is probably 2 shots. So I like to drink. What can I say? To that, I'm just gonna add. Love that sound. Some crisp. Gonna add. Love that sound. Some crispy Coke Zero or Diet Coke if you have it. I'm jealous. I miss you, Diet Coke. And then you just add that almost to the top. Leave a little bit of room, about like 2 fingers worth. 2 fingers worth. Okay, and now you're gonna take some ice and a shaker. If you don't have a shaker at home, get one. I can't think of what else you would shake this in, but I guess you could just do it like in 2 pint glasses or 2 big glasses with ice. I'm going to take a couple ice cubes. And now I'm gonna use this is half coconut water and half coconut cream. Just the cans you can buy at the store for like a couple bucks. And I'm gonna put that in here. Just a splash of that, not the whole cup. I just thought it looked kind of pretty, so I filled it way up. And then I'm gonna take this guy and put it on top here. You can, if you do have a shaker, you can put these on, but I always find a glass works better. And shake it. Okay, not that much, but, oh, it's stuck. Well, maybe. No, I fucked this up. Okay, so maybe use the top of your shaker instead of a glass. Whatever. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't do as I say. Except for the rest of the drink. Okay, so then you're gonna take this creamy stuff. Am I horny? What's going on? I keep on saying kind of horny things. And you're just gonna lightly pour that over the top. It's what I would call like a little cocaine float. Oh, it looks kind of horny. And then, oh, I need a straw. Yeah, because I'm gonna stir it up with a straw. Oh, look how pretty it is. Yeah, and then you stick your straw in there, swirl that around, and if you want to be fancy or add a little nosebleed to your doing cocaine in the bathroom, you can add your cherry. And cheers. Oh, that's delicious. Great. This drink is kind of like a California Bulldog, very similar, but I'm never gonna add half and half to a drink. It's fucking disgusting. I don't know why there are still drink recipes that call for cream or half and half. Like, I don't even think they have half and half at Starbucks anymore. So that's why I switched to either the white chocolate liqueur or the coconut milk and cream. It's just less nasty and it doesn't have that like that gross kind of sour taste to it. But really, I do recommend doing the white chocolate liqueur. I just couldn't get any, and that makes it so strong, but oh, it's so good. Okay, so now that you have your Let's Do Coke in the Bathroom, do you guys want to hear a story? It's called Let's Do Coke in the Bathroom. Let's get in the pool. Let's tell a story. Cheers. Hi, Hetty.
Yeah.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers.
Hello from Curacao. Let's tell a story. This is Let's Do Coke in the Bathroom by me, Orienta Rutter. When I worked behind the bar, I never had a hard time making friends. They weren't always on the up and up, but for all they knew, neither was I. I met Jocelyn in Long Beach at the shitty dive bar where I was working. It was a cesspool, but I only worked primo weekend shifts, could wear whatever I wanted, and banked about $500 a night. It would do. Joss is a pretty girl, something that wasn't common at that bar, but she was dating an alcoholic who loved karaoke and slumming, so it made sense for her to be there. One day, the guy dumped her. She was heartbroken, and I was her bartender, ready to lend a friendly ear. But she couldn't really open up to me about anything because the loser guy was always still in the bar. Do you want to grab a drink somewhere? Jocelyn looked around the bar, littered with elderly drunks. Nicer? Oh my God, girl, yes, I told her as I pushed a gin and tonic in front of my boss, who was sitting at the bar watching my every move like a psycho. I love nicer bars, I told her. I looked at my boss to see if he heard me. He just sucked on his gin and tonic through his little red straw. The next week, Jocelyn and I made plans to meet at the local wine bar, Art du Vin. Way fancier than Clancy's Irish pub, although that's not saying much. Clancy's was the aforementioned dump. ADV was a teensy little closet with bottles of wine lining each wall. Indoors, there were seating for maybe 6 people comfortably, and outdoors, their equally humble patio was the gem of Retro Row. When we arrived, the place was packed. "What do you want to drink?" Jocelyn asked me. I hesitated. There wasn't an open seat, and inside people were packed tighter than a jar of Luxardo cherries. I.e. the cherries I said are brown and I think are gross, but I'm sorry, I digress. Jocelyn shrugged when I looked disappointed. "It's not that bad. I'm sure someone will leave soon." She was right, I guess, but hear me out for a second. Isn't the point of going out to spoil yourself a little? Isn't the reason we aren't just cracking open a bottle of some grocery outlet off-brand wine because we want a little treat? And what about waiting in line for a $20 glass of wine as a treat, babe? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but that sounded like shit to me. "Do you ladies want my spot?" A seemingly nice, short man with a lazy eye asked us. The man stood and gestured to one sliver of space on a wooden patio bench. There was a squashed pillow there. It looked farted on. "No, thank you," I said, still looking down at the pillow, and then looked up. "Thanks, though," I said genuinely. "I know where we can go," I told Jocelyn and grabbed her hand. Down the street from Art du Vin was another bar, one we've talked about before, Ashley's. Now, Ashley's was absolutely a dive bar, but it was nowhere near as disgusting as Clancy's. In fact, most of the time I enjoyed Ashley's. They had a top-notch female bartender, Emily, who didn't take any shit but still wore lots of glitter. The bathrooms were always super clean, and the regular old guys there, with the exception of 1 or 2, kept to themselves in their little dark corners. I barely even noticed them. Jocelyn and I ponied up to the bar, and Emily poured me a tall vodka soda without hesitation. Jocelyn ordered a Jameson and ginger, and I excused myself to the ladies' room. "Watch my drink," I warned her. "Watch your drink. It doesn't matter what kind of bar you're in. Watch your fucking drinks, ladies." In the, again, super clean, especially for a dive bar bathroom, I ran into CJ, a sprightly little regular I had met at the bar a few weeks prior. "Oh, hey, babe." I smiled at her, and she rushed over to me for a hug. She hugged me way too tightly. I could feel the energy buzzing off her skin while I was in her grips. She was like vibrating. She released me from her hug and instead stepped back, but kept her hands now on my shoulders. Her hands clawed into my skin a little bit. I tried to wiggle out of her grip. It didn't hurt, but it was weird. But she held tight. "Oh my God, girl, do a line with me," she said. Ah, there we have it, I thought. "Girl, no, I can't," I politely declined. "Oh my God, shut up. Do a line with me." She dug her fingers deeper into my flesh. "Girl, really, no, I'm good." This time when I declined, I shook her off and turned to walk into the stall. CJ was not only a quick little thing, but she was skinny. She easily slipped into the stall with me before I could shut the door. Opa. CJ was not only a quick little thing, but she was skinny. She easily slipped into the stall with me before I could shut the door. It was effortless, like one smooth motion. 1 second, she was gripping me by the sink. The next, she was staring me down in the bathroom stall, her big green-gray eyes just piercing into me. All I wanted to do was pee. "Do a line with me," the adorable little monster insisted. "CJ, I need to pee," I told her firmly. I wasn't mad at her, but I did have to pee. I also really didn't want to do any coke. I almost never ever want to do any coke. Unless I do, you know? Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. What are you, shy? She asked me. The way she said this made me feel like being pee shy in front of someone before I'd even had a sip of my first drink with bananas. Of course, it's not bananas. But she said it like I was a prude if I didn't. So I pulled down my pants. CJ turned around and hung her backpack on the hook of the door. She then pulled out, and I'm not exaggerating, a Ziploc freezer bag about half full of cocaine. Holy fucking shit, CJ. Why do you have so much coke? I was sitting on the toilet peeing and whispered this because, holy shit, that's a fuckload of coke for a 23-year-old fairy girl to be carrying around in her backpack. I know, right? CJ held the bag up and smiled ear to ear. Do a fucking line with me, bitch! She was giddy. I peed and tried to wipe without CJ seeing my bush. Do a line with me! Come on! She whined, blocking the stall door, one hand holding her sack of drugs, the other on her hip defiantly. CJ, for fuck's sake, I can't. I tried to think of the perfect excuse. I don't usually tell people this, but I used to have a problem, I started. With coke? CJ pulled the giant sack of cocaine out of my face apologetically and leaned in. Oh shit, girl, I'm sorry. I decided to double down because, I don't know, it seemed fun. Yeah, I used to smoke crack. A lot. I stared right into her eyes and nodded slowly. Oh shit! Girl, I didn't know you were a crackhead. Girl, I am so sorry. CJ quickly stuffed the bag into her backpack and opened the stall door. Yes, I said. It was a long time ago, and I've been clean for over 10 years, but I paused for dramatic effect. I was a crackhead. After some more oh my gods and about 10 hugs and apologies, I washed my hands and left CJ to do a line of her coke. I walked back out into the bar and took my seat with Jocelyn. Hey, girl. Jocelyn was almost done with her first drink and was babysitting mine with a coaster on top. A commonly stupid but very sweet gesture. Sorry I took so long, I told her. I ran into a friend in the bathroom. I lifted the coaster off of my drink and wrapped my hands around my spoils. Finally, I thought. Where am I going? I gotta come back. Whoa. I'm back. Finally, I thought, and lifted the glass to my lips. But then I felt two familiar hands dig into my shoulders. Oh my God, this girl, CJ said excitedly to Jocelyn, gripping me tight once again. She was sort of shaking me, pulling me back and forth on my bar stool as she introduced herself to Jocelyn, so I didn't dare take a sip of my drink in fear of cracking a tooth on the glass. Isn't she great? CJ complimented me, smiling at Jocelyn, swaying and half dancing to the music playing on the jukebox. Yeah, sure, Jocelyn laughed, aware that CJ was pretty fucked up. She's great, that's why we're hanging out. Jocelyn lifted her glass to cheers. Yeah, cheers, dude, for real. CJ lifted her pint of beer and finally released me so that I could join in the toast. I took a big, long swig on my icy vodka soda. At last. I'm just so fucking proud of this girlie right here, CJ said loudly, right as the music cut out. And then, did you know it's been 10 years since she smoked crack? 10 fucking years! I choked a little on my drink. Oh, okay. Jocelyn smiled and took the last sip of her drink. Another song came on the jukebox, and before I had time to explain, I had decided not to. It was too loud in the bar. Well, I didn't want to admit that I didn't have a crack problem, or I'd have to go do a line of shame with CJ. Plus, I kind of feel like saying, I don't really smoke crack to this new friend of mine after telling her, sorry, I took so long in the bathroom. I ran into an old friend. I don't know, I just didn't think she believed me. I shrugged and took another swig on my vodka soda. I yelled out, woohoo! 10 years sober! Crack is whack. I never did figure out why CJ had so much cocaine, but I know whatever she did with it ended up being okay because she's doing just fine today. I checked her Instagram. She looks fantastic. I also never asked Jocelyn if she knew I didn't really have a crack problem. I guess if she reads or listens to this little story, I won't have to. That was a super short story today. Thank you for joining us. If you like this story, hey, actually, I have a question. Do you kind of hate the internet? Because lately I've been kind of hating the internet. Did you know that you can get to these stories without ever getting online? I'm about to give you a website to go to, which is kind of fickle. That's kind of bullshit. Well, I already finished reading it. This is my hard work.
Yeah, in the water.
Well, I'm making another one because my neighbor is outside and I want to see if she'll have a drink. I'm sure she will. Oh, Courtney. Let's see if she likes the drink. Oh, you look nice.
Hi.
Very glamorous. Hi. I made you, do you want to do coke in the bathroom? I made you a drink.
Go to the bathroom. Now, let me see.
Maybe stir it a little. It's a lot of alcohol.
Oh, yeah. I feel it. A lot of alcohol. I got two from this. I'm finished.
Cheers, Hetty.